If you're an upgrader, especially thinking to upgrade to an expensive condo or even a landed, this video is important for you. I'll be sharing a real case study where an ex-client of ours lost about $500,000 in under 8 months. A lot of upgraders make the mistake of trying to save that little bit of money, but instead they lose out on much more. This is all about timing, incentives, and understanding what really matters when you upgrade. To give some context, we meet the client back in Q1 2025 for a discussion. She owned a 2-bedroom leasehold condo in Novena around $2 million with 70 years left in the lease. Fully paid property, and it was marketed about 6 months before by other agents before she was actually referred to us by another client of ours. She was serious to sell, and she even renovated a little bit to try and achieve a better selling price. The goal was very simple: sell and upgrade to a $4.5 million landed. There were 3 challenges that we had to overcome. First things first, high price. She kept wanting to sell at record price. And although the unit is at the lower floor, she wanted to sell at the highest floor available, which is 30th floor. But that's not the hardest problem because we've worked around something similar before. It's difficult, but not impossible. The second problem was the bigger problem. The seller only wanted to pay 1% commission instead of the usual 2%. And this is a problem not just for the agents, but for the owner, because when you give us 2% commission, right, in condo, we have to co-broke, meaning that your 2%, I have to take 50%, which is 1%, and pass it to the buyer agent to incentivize the buyer agent. That's just how the industry operates. And because I only have 1%, when we want to give 50-50 to the buyer agent will only receive 0.5%. So imagine now, if you're a buyer agent, you narrowed down to one specific condo, and there's Unit A and Unit B. Unit A gives you lower commission, but it's more suitable for your buyer. Unit B gives you 1% commission, but it's not the most suitable. Touch your heart and ask yourself, which unit will you be more likely to push for? Of course, as a disclaimer, us in GXS, we do not practice this. We always tell our agents that,
hey, no matter what's the commission that you're receiving, serve the best interest for our client.
Regardless whether it's the buyer or the seller, right? But most people in the industry do not practice this. Thirdly, the listing was non-exclusive, meaning it's an open listing with multiple agents marketing the same unit. This one is a problem for us as agents. For example, do you know how much it costs to market a unit online in Property Guru? It is $10 a month. But if you want to be serious, there's this thing called the Turbo, which blasts your listing to as many people as possible, and that costs you up to $250 per week. So every month it can be about $1,000 per month. So imagine now, receiving 1% commission is $20,000. We split to 2, it's about $10,000. Next, you will take 10% from me by default. That's just how the whole thing works. And then for marketing, if I market for 3 months, means I spend $3,000. With $6,000 left, how do I bring my best ability to serve the client? Right? And not only that, whenever an agent like us, we turbo, right, it helps the other agents that's marketing the same unit. Because when we turbo, it attracts buyer to the specific listing, but it also attracts buyer to the condo itself, the project. And the buyers in the current generation is very smart. When they see that there's multiple listings available, right, they'll inquire all the listings there and see who can give them the lowest price, and the viewing also who can give them better schedule. Right? So whenever someone turbo in an open listing concept, it actually harms the agent themselves. It's a losing game. By the way, if you find this kind of sharing helpful, please help to subscribe to our channel. You don't have to like or share. Just help to subscribe and help us in our algorithm. But of course, if you want to like or share, feel free to go and do it. Now, despite these challenges, because this is actually a referral case from one of our clients, and in GXS, we treat our referrals very seriously. We want to make sure we put in our A game. And that's why clients keep referring more business to us. Right? So despite all these challenges, our GXS team still spent at least about $1,000 in marketing, and we actually actively pushed the unit. And as a result, we were able to secure a good offer within 1 month. Slightly above market price and above the last rejected as well. It was not a record-breaking offer, but it was a very, very good offer. And this offer number, it aligned with the owner's landed upgrade plan. They have enough to transition now. Unfortunately, the owner felt that the offer was lowball and the marketing period was too short. Claiming what she said, she was saying,
Hey, if it took you 1 month to get this price, how about if you market another 3 months or 6 months if you could get a higher price?
So she actually rejected our offer. And we tried explaining about the market situation, what her competitors in the same condo are selling for, what are the options outside of this specific condo, because in the area there's a lot of condos, right? But she took it defensively because her previous agents promised her they can sell at a certain amount of price. Very, very high one, like record-breaking one. And that set her expectation very high. So a lot of agents in the market, they like to overpromise sellers these kind of things, which is not very good for the seller themselves because the seller have a very unrealistic expectations and sometimes it affects their plan to upgrade. They lose out on the right timing, being unrealistic with expectations, right? And at the same time, it just makes the entire market worse because like everyone keep promising overprice, but it will never happen, right? Unless you're very lucky. So for JXS, our team here, we don't overpromise one. If you do engage us for selling, right, my partner and I, Joanna, we don't overpromise, right? We will definitely promise to try our best to market your unit to reach as many people as possible, but we will never overpromise a price, especially an unrealistic one. So back to the case, unfortunately, the deal didn't go through. Over the next few months, of course, there were still viewings, there were updates to the client, but there was not much progress. And eventually, a few months later, the client reached out to us and told us to stop marketing the unit, right? Because they want to just work with another agent, trying something new again. And I actually had to call and explain to my referral what happened because for us, we treat every client seriously, especially referral cases. So we tried our best, but unfortunately, we weren't able to help the owner. And the sad thing, right? I mean, it's sad for us as an agent, but the owner is even worse because before we launched this video, right, I checked how much the landed is right now. The landed that she wanted from $4.5 million, now is $5 million already, 8 months later. So if back then she took the offer and bought the landed now, she would have gained $500,000 gain. And as a result, because of trying to save on that few tens of thousands of dollars, they were not able to gain and they actually lost this $500,000. I'm sharing this not to complain, but to educate the homeowners and investors in the market. In an uptrend market like right now, right, timing matters more than squeezing that last bit of dollar, especially for landed properties. I think I've shared before in the past, but there's only 70,000 landed in the entire of Singapore, and this number will never increase ever again. So it's an extremely limited supply. And when there's a limited supply and there's an ever-growing demand, what do you think will happen to prices? Prices will move up. Even if they don't move up, they won't tumble down into nothing one. Never. Right? So those kind of bargain sale or like bankrupt sale is very rare. And think about it. Let's say now you own a $5 million or $6 million landed. You at least might have some ability, right? And when you have to force sell your property, do you think you're stupid enough not to market your property as wide as possible? No, ma. You confirm try to cast the net as wide as possible, get as many buyers, and try to make back as much money as possible, even if you do lose money on the property. Right? So it's very unlikely that you in a buyer position, right, will be one of the lucky few who's able to tap into these kind of opportunities. So if you're upgrading, especially if you're trading a slower or depreciating asset, like for example, the 99-year leasehold condo, which is older, about 40, 50 years old already, and you want to upgrade or transition to a more rare and appreciating asset like a landed, waiting will hurt you more than you think one. Now, disclaimer, this lesson does not apply to everyone. For example, the reverse is true. If let's say now you're staying in a landed and you want to downgrade, okay, maybe not even landed, let's say you stay in a high asset class and you want to downgrade to maybe HDB or more affordable condo, right? And let's say you don't have any timeline concerns, then you can afford to wait, right? Then feel free to wait. And it's very good to wait because even if you wait, right, the market is working in your favor because when you're sitting in such a precious property, the price will continuously increase in a higher proportion than a lower asset class. Right? And usually when I tell clients to wait, they feel a bit shocked because no agent will tell you to wait when you're selling. But for us here in JXS, we pride ourselves for giving transparent and honest feedback. So especially when we work with our clients, right, We want to make sure that they are clear on how the market operates and what they can do from a strategic perspective to maximize the amount of money, the amount of returns that they can get. So remember, don't get yourself priced out. My job here is not to push you to sell. My job is to help you see the bigger picture. So if you're planning to upgrade, you need strategy. Not just set a high price and hope you can achieve it. No. So if you're facing a similar situation, feel free to speak to someone who will tell you the truth and who will keep you updated on the market situation even when it's uncomfortable. Scan on this QR code if you would like to have a consultation with one of our team members to guide you step by step on what needs to be done to plan your transition better. For us in JXS here, as I mentioned a few times, we pride ourselves in being transparent and being very truthful with the things we share with you. So if you feel like this is something that can benefit you, give us a go and drop us a message.